What's up guys, it's Abhinav from Phone Bunch and this is our review of the Xiaomi Mi 5, and as is customary, let's get on with the specs first. So the Mi 5 comes with a 5.15-inch 1080p display, Snapdragon 820, 3GB of RAM, 32GB of onboard storage, and yes, this is the only variant which is available in India at the moment. You have 16 megapixel rear camera and a 4 megapixel ultra pixel front facing camera here as well. Now without further ado, let's talk about the build on the device. On the right, you have metallic buttons, both the volume rocker and the power button. Sadly, the power button actually does wobble, and it's not an issue with just our unit. I have asked many other people and either the volume rocker or both buttons do actually wobble for many people. Quality control is definitely not in check here. Now on the left you have the SIM tray. This is a dual SIM 4G LTE capable device with VoLTE support. But there's no microSD card slot here, so no storage expansion. At the bottom you have the USB Type-C port, speaker and the primary microphone of the device as well. Now moving to the top, you do get an infrared sensor and a noise cancellation mic along with a 3.5mm audio jack. And at the back you have that 16 megapixel camera with dual tone LED flash. And you can see that it is absolutely flush with the surface. And talking about that surface, both the front and back are covered by Corning Gorilla Glass 4. You have capacitive buttons in the front, you can see those, they just light up as dots, and there's a specific reason why Xiaomi has done that. So you can have the right button as the recent apps key, the left button as back key, or vice versa. It's pretty easy to do that. Now let's talk about that display. You have a 5.15-inch 1080p display. It is very sharp, it has excellent color reproduction and very wide viewing angles. Colors look really natural, and as I said earlier, this is a very sharp panel. At 1080p 5.15 inches, you really can't see any pixels at all. Moreover, it is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 4. And if I come to that fingerprint sensor, it's one of the fastest front-facing fingerprint sensors I have seen. Just tap on it, wait for a second and it unlocks. It's really fast and it works every single time. In fact, it's a bit faster than the Galaxy S7 as well. Now coming to network and call quality, we didn't have any issues with call quality here. It was actually quite crisp. The earpiece could have been slightly louder though. But the main problem here is with 4G connectivity. This phone just loses Airtel's 4G network for no apparent reason. You have 5 bars at one point and the next point there's just no network, and when you pick up the phone while on a 4G network, if you start using data, it shifts to either 3G or 2G, again for no reason. So there is some issue with this phone and Airtel's 4G network connectivity, and is very apparent here. It's again not an issue with just our device. Moreover, with Vodafone's 3G network, this issue actually didn't occur. And while I was recording this video, I saw a message from Airtel that I had missed 2 calls, although the phone never rang. Which now brings me to the camera. Now this is actually a highlight of this device. The IMX298 sensor does a very good job. It's really fast, it does focus in fast as well. Although it cannot focus properly on small objects or close by objects, it does take a little bit of time to focus there. You have a robust manual mode and you have some filters baked in as well, whose effects you can see in real time. Now the front facing camera, it's a 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera with bigger pixel size. It actually does a very good job even in low light. Now when we come to the rear camera, it does capture good amount of detail, images do look sharp, but when you get close to an object, yes, the image might appear a bit blurry because the camera doesn't focus in properly there. Optical image stabilization again is decent, it's not the best. Now some of the other good things about this camera is good white balance control. Exposure control does need a little bit of work, but it does have good dynamic range. And with quick HDR capture, you really get a boost in the dynamic range as well. Low light imaging is definitely not a forte here, but this is still a good camera. Which now brings me to another good point. Audio through the headphone jack on the Xiaomi Mi 5 is really excellent. I have no complaints about it. It's loud, it's crisp, it's clear. But same cannot be said about the loudspeaker. It's not the loudest, but yes, it's not tinny either. One more downer is that you don't have FM radio available on the device, but I can slide that off. Because overall, the multimedia experience on this device is really excellent. This display actually makes everything pop, and yes, everything does look more lifelike on it. It's quite bright as well. And yes, it is visible in direct sunlight too, although the front panel is a bit more reflective than what would I have wanted. With that folks, let's come to software. So the Xiaomi Mi 5 is the first Mi device which is running on Android Marshmallow right out of the box. Now on the front you don't see much of a difference. You have the same launcher, you have theme support baked in as well, you have the same notification tray, so everything looks quite familiar because this is MIUI 7 which is now just based on Android Marshmallow. Now there are some things missing here. You don't have Google now on tap, which is actually something I did get used to with Nexus devices. And then if we talk about storage, you just have about 25 odd gigs when you get the device, and it is non-expandable. There's just no way to increase the storage on this device, and Xiaomi hasn't brought the 64 gig variant to India, at least till now. Now there was plenty of RAM available on the device, and we have 1 gig of RAM free even though many apps are running in the background. Now there are some neat additions in MIUI 7. You can actually go ahead and hide your folders from your SD card or your internal storage. Just click hide and they can't be seen in any app, not just in the default file explorer. You can see here this is the ES file explorer and it's not visible there too. Now to access those hidden folders you need to go back to the file explorer, pull down and then use your fingerprint sensor or pattern pin or password to access those files. It's actually pretty neat. And if we come to performance, that's actually one of the fortes of this device. It performs brilliantly well. We didn't have any issues with lag on this device. Web browsing was excellent, apps opened up quickly, and even in gaming, it just blazed through everything. And let me just open up a few apps. We'll test how the phone handles multitasking. So even after opening so many apps, you can see that the Chrome tab did not reload. So memory management is really not that aggressive. It does work out quite fine. Now gaming was again brilliant on this device. We didn't have any issues with heating. Phone just went to around 41-42 degrees centigrade even with extended gameplay. Now battery life on this device is actually not that good. You have a 3000 mAh battery, but it just drives the phone with around 3 hours of screen on time with 4G networks. On Wi-Fi, yes, I got about 1.5 hours more, but that's just about it. It's actually quite average. Yes, the phone does support Quick Charge 3.0, and with the supported charger, you can get a full charge within 1.5 hours. With the bundle charger, the phone charges in around 2 hours. Now let's sum everything up that we have talked about till now. The phone actually feels great to hold in hand. The curved back makes it easier to hold. It is still quite slippery. It does attract fingerprints, but on the white color they are not that visible. The buttons, yes, they do wobble a little bit. The display here is absolutely perfect. Great viewing angles, great color reproduction. The camera does need a little bit of work with low light as well as indoor lighting. Performance is again excellent on this device. RAM management is also quite decent. But if we come down to the main cons of this device, it's the battery life as well as the network issues. For now, I can't really recommend this device till these get sorted out. And well, again, you are just limited to 32 gigs of storage. And for a device in this price point, non-expandable storage does bother a little bit. Well folks, that's it for this review. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, hit us in the comment section. And as always, have a great day. Before we go, do hit that subscribe button as well.